You have to start us with a cold open, Kathy. It's your turn.
I don't have a cold open. I have a cold.
Welcome to the cold opening with the cold.
I know, right?
There's
Brought to you
your
by
cold
Mucinex.
No kidding.
Not sponsored.
We could
Allergy
be.
bowl.
So Mucinex, if you're watching.
Allergy bowl, trying to get to see.
Well, welcome to the In Between podcast. Today, as you can see, Pastor Caesar is not here. This is not Pastor Caesar. This is Women's Ministry Director Kathy Hodnett.
I was hoping you'd get her last name wrong, so that wouldn't be the only one that got her
I don't
last
think Guthrie,
name wrong.
is that your maiden name? Yes.
There you go.
But she's been married a little longer than I have, so maybe
That's true.
I can
About to do
change some
40
things.
years.
40. Congratulations.
40 years in December if we make it.
You'll make it. You'll make it.
I feel
Or
good
will it
about
in the creek don't rise.
I know, right?
All that. But Pastor Caesar is actually on a writing retreat. He is planning his messages for the next quarter, and so be praying for him and for wisdom as he does that, and that the Lord would just speak to him about what he needs to speak to you guys this month, and so or the rest of the year. So he's out for this week, but we get the wonderful Kathy to join us. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the sermon and what we took away from it, and then just encourage y'all. So let's get started. Obviously, y'all know this is Luke.
What's up? How's it going?
Pastor Luke. Sorry, I didn't give your title.
Pastor.
But yeah, so yesterday we finished the Calibrate Series, which was a 7-week long series. Did y'all listen to every single?
I did.
It was
I
a great
was.
series.
I listened to it in person and went back and listened to them. Good. I like the whole series. It really reminds me of what is that children's song? Be careful, little hands, what you do. Or I don't know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's all the things.
think
the
the
eyes, what you
eyes,
see,
ears, mouth.
what you hear,
Yeah.
what you say.
I think there's a Casting Crowns
Yeah,
song
slow fade.
somewhere in there.
But it was
Here's
really
a
practical.
slow
Yes.
fade.
Every bit of it was really practical.
Really good stuff that you can use every day. Put it in application right away.
Yeah,
You talked about our hands. So,
yeah.
what'd you take away, Kathy, from this?
Yesterday was, and I had a lot of thoughts on yesterday, especially because, like, one of the things Pastor Caesar had us do at the end was everybody held up their hands, and Derek and I sit towards the back, and so I could see everyone's hands, and that's young, old, middle-aged, kids, and so when he said, what could God possibly do if we all did the thing that God has placed in our hands? And we know that God's put more than one thing in our hands. And so that was an incredible picture and challenge to, hey, do my part.
Yeah.
Do what he's asking me to do. Be faithful to that and see what God will do with it.
How do you see women in the church, and even the capital C church, using their talents, their skills, and resources? How do you see that happening in our church right now?
Listen, we really do have an incredible group of women.
Yeah, for sure.
And we are doing that multi-generational thing well. Like our younger women love our older women. They seek their advice. They want their counsel. It's not like, oh, they're too old or counsel me out. And so I feel really strong about doing life together. And, women are not just the caregivers in the nursery and the singers in the choir, but they do a lot of planning and a lot of organizational things. And so a lot of the great ideas come from a lot of the women, and a joint effort for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we carry out a lot of things that we see things different than men sometimes, and are able to just incorporate that and come alongside as a help. And
That's good.
What are some of the practical ways that we see women today in our church? Like, are there any people off the top of your head that you can see, like, here's something I can name right now that they are doing with what they have that our church members may not see because they're not right on the platform, or they're not, at the front door, but they are serving our local body?
Well, one of those is, so if you visit our church for the first time, the ministerial staff takes you bread. Well, we don't bake that bread. We have 2 women in our church that every week or as needed, put all those ingredients together, make wonderful loaves of bread, and they're really, really good. And that is their gifting. They have many gifts, One of them is a teacher in our church as well, and they use those things that they love, and it has been such a ministry to all the ones who have gotten it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's something that, especially young women, when you're growing up, like I worked with students and stuff, you see like the singers, right? Or the people in the band, and you see, or our wonderful Whitney, who does our vision cast, do the announcements, and you're like, I want to do one of those things. I want to be one of the people who gets their name and their face in the light, but it's really all those people who are working, not really, but not in it. In addition to those people, the people who are working behind the scenes for things that you're never going to hear about. You guys didn't know that we had a woman making bread for us every week, right? And
good bread.
Yeah,
like
good
really
bread.
good bread.
Yeah.
But that's who is serving. And we've the same with the men. We have a men's group every Tuesday that comes up here and paints our walls
Right.
and puts our decorations away and fixes our lights and all of that stuff. And they do that just because that's what they have in their hands. That's what their gifts and their talents. There's a Scottish guy. Is he Scottish or Irish?
Yes.
I don't something like that. He has a great accent, and he is really good with lights, and so he like puts up all of our lights and stuff like that. And so it's really cool to see all of the way that God has all of these people who have these different talents that maybe you don't see as big, but they're giving them to the Lord.
True.
And that's exactly
I
what
think
Pastor
it's
Caesar was talking
important
about.
to not compare what's in your hands versus what's in your hands.
Right.
And I think especially for people in leadership and ministry, that can be very hard when you look at social media or anything online. It's like, oh man, I wish we could have X. It's like, well, God hasn't put that into your hands, and we have to work with what's in our hands right now, right here. Man, I wish I could do what Cassidy does. Oh, well, God's given that to her right now. So we have to make sure we don't compare each other either online or what other people's gifts are. God gave you gifts for a
Yeah, and I
reason.
think he gave you a natural bent.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's certain things that I love and enjoy. It's a passion of mine. And so what is that I have in my hand that is natural to me? Not that I need his supernatural help, but it's a natural bent for me to do.
Right.
I know I met with a lady one time, and she was comparing herself to somebody else, and she was like, but they didn't ask me to do that. And I said, well, do you want to do that? And she said, no. And I said, then do the thing that God has called you to do.
Yes.
Because you would be miserable doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yes.
Like decorating for Stations of the Cross. That's not my natural bent. That probably Kathy does a lot better at that. That's why I said, hey, Kathy, here you go.
That's definitely a joint effort, for sure.
Yeah, it is for sure.
What kind of advice do you have for someone who feels like they don't have anything to offer the Lord?
Number one, I would say that was a huge lie.
Yeah.
And because God has equipped you to do whatever he's called you to do. So that's where you stop and ask him, hey, Lord, where is it that you would like me to serve? What is it that you have given me to do? And he will show you. Open a door and see what God will have, because everybody, we are not an island. Everybody, it takes the body, just like the picture of all those hands in the air, and they're working together, because it just isn't one hand doing it. It's all of our hands doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I think if y'all watch The Chosen, or you're catching up on it, but like something I've been noticing in all the seasons is just how much all these other people are doing. Like, yes, we know the disciples, and we know like those are the people that he did life with, but also all the people on the sidelines that he was friends with, and that Joanna was funding his ministry. He had people who were opening up their home so that they could, the upper room, so that they could have a meal together and stuff like that. So there's all these different people who are using their gifts and talents that the Lord has given them to be able to further his kingdom. And it's not just those, the 12 disciples,
That's good. I think for me, taking away something from yesterday was, what's something that God has, for one, placed in your hands, and the talents and the abilities and resources, but also what's something that you could learn something from? What is something that God could possibly say, hey, I've given you time, effort, and resources to learn this new thing so that it can glorify God. So I'm curious, what is it that you're wanting to learn? For me, it's kind of guitar, right? We've talked about that before. It's like, man, it's totally different than piano, and I'm trying to put all my time and energy in learning in that. But what's something y'all are trying to learn this year? I want to always continue to learn and grow, and I feel like I'm stagnant if I'm not learning. So what's something y'all are learning right now?
I'm trying to learn just a new role on Sundays, just to be completely transparent, because I've spent the last 6 years teaching middle school girls.
Yeah.
And when this last promotion Sunday happened, the last few months, I felt like the Lord was telling me to take a step back from that. There's a new season in my life that he's wanting to teach me something. And so I've had to step back from student ministry. And so I'm trying to learn what my Sundays look like now and how I can use my different gifts and talents to continue serving the Lord, especially on Sundays. And so part of my job is social media. And so I'm able to be around more on the main church and run around and get that beautiful content of y'all smiling and being happy to be at church and stuff like that, and worshiping, and being able to encourage and celebrate that throughout the week. But also I get to now work with littles. I got to volunteer in the preschool ministry for the first time yesterday. And so I got to work with little 2 and 3-year-olds, and that was super fun to just see a different type of caring and helping 2-year-olds feel the love of Jesus is different than helping 8th grade girls feel the love of Jesus. But it was still just a different gift and talent that the Lord has, and different time that the Lord has given me that I'm trying to figure out in this new season of life.
So you've got a camera in one hand and a diaper in the other hand.
Exactly. They're washed separately. I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes.
That's awesome. What are you learning, Kathy?
I'm always learning.
Yeah?
And I hope I never quit. And so one of the things that I'm learning, I'm now a grandmother. I don't know if y'all know that, but they're precious.
What's your grandmother's name?
Khaki. And Diggett. So, and I've been in ministry now. I'll be going on my 12th year this year, and I love it. But one of the things I've learned is I can't be everything. I can't be at everything. I can't do everything. I can say no. I don't have that fear of missing out anymore. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm okay to go, I can do this, but I cannot do that.
It's balance.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the whole series is calibrating.
Yeah. Right. I'm 59 years old, and I'm learning to go, you know what, I'm good with that. Because back to what's in your hand, I would say to the young mothers, those babies are in your hands, and they're in your hands for just a minute.
Yeah.
I think people see everybody on the platform and go, I need to do that, or I need to be doing something big. I need it to be, and be faithful in it can be the smallest thing, but God's going to use that in a huge way.
I think you go through different seasons of life too.
Yes.
You've got different tools in your hands, like you were saying. It might be a phone to do social media, it might be a camera, it might be a diaper, whatever the tool that's in your hand. I know it sounds weird having a diaper as a tool.
It is a tool.
It is. It serves a purpose, and
Yeah.
it's part of what we do on Sunday mornings. But God can place different tools in your hand throughout different seasons. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and just being open to that, I could have been super mad and just stayed in the same place, and I would not have been able to give my whole heart to these girls if I had continued serving in middle school when the Lord was directing my path a different way. And so I had to be open to being holding all of He's given me with an open hand and saying, use this for what you have at the right time.
Yep.
So that means being willing to change and move and shift in all different kinds of ways.
Yep.
Well, and you're preparing a place. You're giving up a spot for somebody who's been called to that
Exactly.
There
spot.
you go.
So it's reciprocal.
Yeah. What stood out to you the most throughout this whole series? Any particular message that you've meditated on a little bit more that would challenge you a little bit more? I'll say the one that always challenged me is what you hear. Be careful, little eyes, what you hear. I feel like that's not what he said, but that's what's stuck in my head right now is I feel like every time we do 21 days of prayer, anytime I go on a fast, I'm always fasting from secular things, because throughout the year I'm constantly putting stuff in my brain, and then I can find that I make myself so anxious. And something that I've been doing recently with just an anxiety is trying to fill my mind with scripture or hymns or worship songs and stuff like that, because I'm trying to really be careful about what I'm intaking so that I'm not just stressed all the time.
I like the heart when he went over the heart, and because I think everything starts with the heart, and then it obviously goes to your hands, to your feet, and to your ear, whatever the case is. And so it starts with that, and I always ask people for some reason if they say, well, let's try this. I'm like, well, let's go to the heart of the issue, or the heart of this. What's the heart of, what do you where is your heart? Is it in ministry? Is it in whatever your vocation is? So I think it starts there. That was really big for me. So
Mine
Kathy?
was well, they were all great. Like you just felt like, wow, that. And he brought out so many different points that God really used it. But I think it was the eyes for me. I happened to be doing the greeting that week, and I'll never forget, like, because we are so quick to what we see and stuff. And I had my phone because I was checking to make sure I got all the information out, and something popped up with little eyes. I can't wait for you to see this. And I thought, that's the world we live in. And we're just reminded you can't look to the right or left. You got to keep your eyes on him because you can get really off sight real quick.
For sure.
Absolutely.
We've got a new sermon series coming up. I think it's 2 parts coming up this coming Sunday, so that'll be fun to interact with and talk about and be challenged by, and just continue celebrating this week. Midweek is happening. We started that last week, so we're super excited to see y'all on Wednesday nights. And yeah, is there anything else that y'all?
Thanks for letting me join.
Thanks for being here,
thank
Kathy.
you, Kathy.
Great. This is a very special guest.
Wow.
The last special guest we had was Dwight. He took my place, and we called him. You called him the bearded.
He called himself the bearded one.
I don't
Okay.
want to be called that.
Yeah. I'm glad you're not called that. So,
Yeah.
do you have a nickname that you'd like to go by?
No, I'm good.
Okay. It is Khaki from here on out.
Yeah.
We're so glad Khaki got to join us
Yes,
today.
we are.
They have
so-
plenty of nicknames for me, I'm sure.
Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.